if I get come out for do a 10 minute. But hey, let's talk about Daredevil Born Again season 2 and how I feel like there are a lot of parallels. You know, Marvel likes to put in little parallels. How there's a lot of parallels between them and the plot and our current administration and what they're doing and a lot of their temperament. So I have it written down here in my random thoughts and stuff. So I'm just gonna share this, and y'all let me know if you feel the same way. Okay. If you don't know, there's a new season of Daredevil Born Again currently streaming on Disney Plus. So if you are interested, you can go and see it. But here are the parallels. Here are the things that I wrote down. Um, the Vigilante Task Force. I saw a lot of parallels between Vigilante Task Force in Daredevil and ICE. Considering that Fisk, which is the newly elected mayor, which he was formerly a criminal and a businessman, but he's a mayor now, he had this initiative and started it and kind of used his mayoral privileges to put it out into play, kind of like how Donald Trump uses a lot of his executive orders, and he used a lot of his executive orders to put ICE out into the public, and we all know like they're doing his bidding essentially. And that's not the only reason. It's also the way they act. Like the task force in the show acts similar to ICE, where they kind of disregard laws, they disregard just social norms, and they don't care, and they come in like muscles blazing, everything. That's literally how we've viewed ICE in real life. So every time I watch it, I'm just like, ooh, this feels a little close to home. So, let's see here. Another thing that I found interesting is that there's a part of the plot where Fisk, he's a criminal. He's trying to smuggle a bunch of illegal cargo from New York to another port, right? And because Daredevil found out and was able to free a couple of the people that were imprisoned on this same cargo ship, he decided to blow up. He decided to blow up the whole ship with the crew on there, but this was a premeditated plan in case anything was about to get out or anything was about to fall apart. He already had his team saying, okay, if this happens, blow them up. It reminds me of how the president threw or decided to throw us into a war once we started to really get to the bottom of a lot of the Epstein drama. And it was meant for a distraction. A lot of us felt like, okay, you're trying to distract us now because we started seeing the pictures, we started seeing a lot more things. So that was kind of the same plot line with Fisk, because he didn't want people to really truly see the atrocities that he was abusing his mayoral power for. Excuse me, I'm a little high. But another thing I wanted to point out was that Pete Hegseth, which is the Secretary of War or whatever, Trump's right hand person in this whole situation, and the man that plays, what's his name? Okay, his name is Powell, but his real name is Hamish Allen Headley. The actor, they kind of look alike, don't they? Like Pete Hegseth and this man, like just not all the way, but just enough, right? And this person in Daredevil, he's the top of the task force, but he's also the most enthusiastic about what they're doing. He's the most eager to hunt, the most eager to carry out these atrocities, right? With a smile on his face. He has a lot of energy, and he doesn't scare easy. And he just reminds me a lot of Pete Hegseth, both phenotypically, but also their roles in both situations with the war and then in the show with the vigilante task force. Like he's the top, but you can very well tell, like if it was up to him, he wouldn't even waste no time. He would clear them out. You could tell. So I thought that was very interesting. And then let's talk about how both Trump and Mayor Fisk in Daredevil Born Again, Part 2, they're both businessmen that they abruptly get into high-ranking government positions as their introduction to the political arena. That's what I found to be very interesting because they both kind of mirror each other. They weren't in the same type of business, but they both were known, in the streets, known amongst different businesses and in the city, but all of a sudden they seem to link up with the right people, or they already have all these friends on board to position them to be able to take office in that political arena in these high-ranking roles, whether it be the mayor, whether it be president. It's just like, oh, okay, I'm seeing like y'all are the same type of person, right? So I feel like maybe Marvel, I don't know. I feel like they're using it's lining up a little too close for me, if you understand. But not to mention, both Fisk and Trump have uncontrollable tempers. Okay, they just express them in different ways. Trump more so is verbal, and he likes to do his things on Twitter. Like he'll get really aggressive, come out the side of his neck on Twitter in a press conference trying to flex. Fisk more so tries to keep it concealed, but he's more physically uncontrollable. Like he likes to off people with his bare hands, type of crazy. You know them type of crazy people? Like he have that type of strength and anger in him, and he really tries to suppress it. You could see throughout the show he really tries to suppress it because he knows if it's up to him. So I just found that to be interesting, like their temperament, their reasoning skills, their plots, their plans. It's and then their ways of going about it. Like he's all about fooling the public into thinking that he's for New York and for the betterment of New York and getting all the criminals off the street and getting all the vigilantes. No, oh, not to mention they're both very violent, and whether it's verbally or physically. And I also noticed how in Daredevil, Fisk made this whole new problem to the public. This where it's like vigilantes are public enemy number one and they need to be eradicated is what he kind of ran on, and that ultimately got him into office. And with that, he was able to then implement task force, a vigilante task force, to get them off the streets. And it reminded me of how Trump ran with this immigrant that, or once he well, he didn't really run, but once he got into office, he turned everything into immigrants are our biggest issue, and that's how he was able to implement ICE and have them doing his bidding essentially throughout the streets, getting rid of whoever he needs to get rid of. And yeah, it kind of struck home for me. Yeah, have y'all noticed the parallels between the plot and the storyline of Daredevil Born Again and our current administration and what's going on with the war, and also like Fisk and Trump, because they're both these big men that have a pre-existing fame, whether it's in the streets or it's in the public pop culture, and they used it to their advantage. So I wonder if y'all see that the same way I do. So let me know.